These two friends were different in every way. Rebecca was the good girl, the one everyone admired. She went to church every Sunday, studied hard, stayed disciplined, and always did the right thing. Chioma, on the other hand, lived like tomorrow didn't exist. Parties, clubs, late nights, luxury cars. It was her normal routine. Everyone thought they already knew how their lives would end. Rebecca would surely be rewarded for her patience and purity. Chioma would eventually crash from her reckless lifestyle. But life had other plans. And when jealousy and entitlement quietly took root, one drastic decision was made, one that changed everything. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Your support helps me keep bringing you these amazing stories. Now sit back and enjoy the video. When the good girl and the Yashua were paired as roommates in university, nobody expected them to become friends. But Rebecca and Chioma shocked everyone. They didn't just get along. They became inseparable. Still, Rebecca knew she had to be careful. Her mother had warned her about girls like Chioma, girls who spent their nights partying, clubbing, and chasing men. Stay far away from them, her mother warned. Their lives are spoiled. So when Rebecca entered their 100-level hostel room for the first time and saw her roommate dressed in a short fitted gown, bone-straight wig, full face of makeup, and saying, "I have to go. Chief is waiting outside," Rebecca immediately decided, "This girl is not my type. I must keep my distance." But life has a way of forcing opposites together. The more Rebecca got to know Chioma, the more she realized something surprising. Yes, Chioma's lifestyle was questionable. But her heart was kind. Rebecca was the definition of a good girl. She took her studies seriously, spending long hours in the library. And when she wasn't studying, she was in church. She followed rules, never cut corners, and stayed patient, even when life didn't reward her immediately. She had been dating Lawrence since 100 level. They met at the campus church. Lawrence was the drummer, and Rebecca was the choir mistress. Lawrence didn't have much. His small businesses kept failing, one after another. But Rebecca never complained. If all he could afford was 500 Nigerian nairas for her hair, she accepted it. If the only meal he could buy was bread and pure water, she smiled and ate it. She believed that one day, life would reward her patience. After all, the patient dog eats the fattest bone. Meanwhile, Chioma lived in the night. She came back to the hostel with bundles of cash, always dropped off by luxury cars. And she always offered Rebecca a share. But Rebecca always refused. "Good girl no day," Chioma would tease. "I hope you know that. One of these days, you need to follow me to the club. Trust me, you won't regret it." Rebecca would smile politely. But deep down, she judged her friend. She believed Chioma's wild lifestyle would catch up with her, and that her own disciplined life would surely pay off. Everyone agreed. People whispered that Chioma would end up alone and unwanted, while Rebecca would marry Lawrence and live a soft, comfortable life. But nobody could have predicted what would happen next. Because life doesn't always follow the script people write for you. 5 years after university, reality hit Rebecca like a slap. Life was not a Nollywood movie. Rebecca, the girl who spent her youth being good, still had no ring. 5 years out of school. 9 years into the relationship. And she was still just a girlfriend. Whenever she brought up marriage, Lawrence always gave the same answer. He loved her. He truly did. But he wasn't where he wanted to be in life. His businesses were still struggling, and he refused to drag his frustrations and failures into marriage. Again and again, he would tell her gently, "If marriage is what you truly want, and I can't give it to you right now, you're free to leave. I won't blame you." But Rebecca never left. Because what would people say? This wasn't how it was supposed to go. Rebecca had done everything right. She was supposed to marry Lawrence because she had been good. So she stayed. And she reminded him of it. Often. She told Lawrence he would never find another girl like her. A good girl who kept herself through university, never lived a wayward life, never disgraced her future. She didn't shout it. She didn't fight. But she held it over him like a quiet debt. Lawrence listened and said nothing. Chioma's life, meanwhile, took a very different turn. The truth was, Chioma was never truly an Ashawo. Those nights in clubs and parties had never been about careless fun. Chioma was intentional. She surrounded herself with wealthy and influential men and women, built connections, created opportunities, and matched it all with solid academic results. By the time she graduated, Chioma already knew exactly where she was headed. And she didn't miss her road. Within a few years, she secured a senior executive role at Crestfield Petroleum Development Company, one of Lagos' leading oil firms. She became wealthy, accomplished, confident, happy. The same people who once whispered that her life would spoil were now flooding her Instagram comments and DMs. Chioma, I beg, show us the way. Babe, teach me your secrets. Please put me through. But through it all, Chioma and Rebecca remained close. In fact, Chioma helped Rebecca secure a job at Crestfield too. Not as an executive. Not as a manager. As a secretary. Rebecca's CV was thin. While others were building certifications, learning skills, and sharpening their careers, Rebecca had poured her time into church activities and waiting for Lawrence's breakthrough. Still, the job paid better than most entry-level roles, and Rebecca was grateful. Working in the same company brought them even closer. They had weekly lunches where they caught up on life, laughed, and gossiped like they were still in university. But if Rebecca was being honest with herself, every story Chioma told about promotions, projects, and power stirred something dark inside her chest. Envy. She tried to bury it. She tried to pray it away. But it never fully left. Still, one thing comforted her. Chioma had no man. And to Rebecca, marriage mattered more than money. Even if Chioma had the career, the bags, the wigs, and the vacations, Rebecca still had a man. That thought soothed her. It allowed her to believe she was still ahead, that life was simply taking its time to reward her. She didn't know that her last comfort was about to collapse. It all started on a random morning when Ibuka Equim, one of Crestfield's major shareholders and a board member, walked into the company. The entire building shifted the moment he stepped through the glass doors. Power walked with him. Money sat on his shoulders. Respect followed him like perfume. That same moment, Chioma and Rebecca were walking out of the building, heading for one of their weekly lunches. They didn't see him in time. Ibuka bumped lightly into Chioma. Her handbag slipped off her shoulder and fell to the floor. Everything inside spilled out: lip gloss, phone, keys, perfume, cards. Before Chioma could even react, Ibuka had already dropped to his knees to help her pick everything up. Rebecca stood frozen, watching. Chioma bent slightly, embarrassed, reaching for her things. Then Ibuka stood up, and their eyes met. He froze. For a brief moment, he forgot where he was. Chioma was effortlessly stunning. Ibuka had seen beautiful women all his life, but this one felt like a discovery. He smiled, still holding her gaze, and spoke smoothly. "I was going to apologize for bumping into you," he said. "But now I'm not so sure I want to." Chioma raised an eyebrow, amused. "So you're not going to say sorry?" His smile widened. "How about I make it up to you by taking you out to dinner tonight?" Chioma paused for half a second. Then she smiled. "Okay." Ibuka collected her number, thanked her, and walked away like a man who had already decided she was his next win. Chioma watched him leave, still smiling to herself, unaware of the deadly look Rebecca was giving her. From that day everything moved fast. Ibuka pursued Chioma openly and confidently. Flowers started arriving at the office. Designer handbags followed. Jewelry. Luxury surprises delivered casually, as if they were nothing. Rebecca watched it all. Each gift chipped away at her composure. Each time Chioma smiled, the tightness in Rebecca's chest grew worse. She laughed along, nodded, even joked playfully. God, when will you do my own? But inside, something ugly was growing. Something bitter. Something dangerous. One afternoon, they were out at lunch when Rebecca noticed something sparkling on Chioma's finger. A large diamond. Bright. Heavy. Impossible to ignore. Rebecca's smile slowly faded. Her eyes stayed fixed on it. And in that moment, she realized. Chioma wasn't just winning in career anymore. Chioma was about to win in the one thing Rebecca thought she still had. Rebecca nearly choked on her water. Is that an engagement ring? She asked, her voice trembling. Chioma's face lit up like morning sunshine. Yes, she squealed. Ibuka proposed yesterday. He took me to a restaurant in Victoria Island and rented the whole place, just the two of us. She kept talking, excitedly describing every detail of the night. The candlelight, the music, the way he went down on one knee. But Rebecca barely heard her. A loud ringing filled her ears. Her chest tightened. Her throat felt dry. And before she could stop herself, the words slipped out. So, he's really going to marry you? Chioma smiled. Of course. Rebecca's lips curled into a strange, forced grin. Then she added, quietly but sharply, does he even know about the things you did in university? The table went silent. Chioma's smile disappeared. She stared at Rebecca like she didn't recognize her. What do you mean? She asked slowly. Rebecca's heart dropped. She realized what she had just said. She panicked. Oh, nothing. She laughed too quickly. Don't mind me. I'm just being silly. Chioma didn't respond immediately. She studied Rebecca for a long moment, suspicion flickering across her face. But eventually, she let it go. Still, something had shifted. The wedding came quickly. And when it came, Lagos couldn't stop talking about it. Elegant. Extravagant. Unforgettable. Everything you would expect from the wedding of a billionaire oil tycoon. Rebecca stood beside Chioma as her maid of honor. She smiled. She laughed. She danced. But inside, she was burning. And she wasn't sure how much longer she could pretend. A few days after the wedding, Rebecca went to the supermarket to clear her head. But fate had other plans. As she walked past one of the aisles, she spotted some former classmates. Her heart jumped. She turned quickly to avoid them, but their voices reached her before she could escape. Did you guys see Chioma's wedding? One of them asked. Oh Mo, I saw it. Another replied. She married Ibuka. That wedding made sense, Jer. See power couple. And people used to say she wouldn't find a husband, someone else added. Now she SCF can't marry better man. They laughed. Then one of them asked casually. Wait. What about Rebecca? Rebecca NKO. Another voice repeated. She never marry Lawrence. No, someone answered. Almost 10 years together. Still no ring. They laughed again, louder this time. Then one of them said the words that pierced Rebecca like a knife. True, good girl no day pay. Something inside Rebecca snapped. She abandoned her cart. Stormed out of the supermarket. And the moment she reached outside, her chest rose and felt like she was fighting for air. This wasn't right. This wasn't how life was supposed to go. Chioma had taken the life meant for her. The life society promised her for being good. And Rebecca decided. She would do whatever it took to take it back. It was through hushed whispers at the salon she frequented that Rebecca first heard the name. Babotti. The women spoke in low voices, leaning close as hairdryers hummed overhead. They said he was a native doctor who corrected life paths. A man who could realign destiny. A man people went to when life had gone terribly wrong. Rebecca didn't need to hear it twice. By evening, She was standing in front of Boboti's workshop. The place was hidden on a quiet street, its walls stained with age, smoke, and time. The air felt heavy the moment she stepped inside, like something unseen was pressing against her chest. Still, she sat. Without lifting his head, Boboti spoke. "You are here to take something that does not belong to you." Rebecca's heart skipped, but she forced herself to sit up straighter. "I'm not," she said, her voice shaking despite her effort. "I'm only taking what I deserve." Boboti finally raised his head. His eyes were unreadable. "Very well," he said calmly. "But listen carefully. Taking a destiny is one thing. Carrying the weight of a path you did not pave is another." Rebecca frowned. She didn't understand what he meant. And before she could ask, Boboti spoke again. "Whose life do you want?" Rebecca leaned forward. "My friend, Chioma." Boboti's eyes narrowed slightly. "What of her life?" Rebecca swallowed hard. "I want her position at work. I want her confidence. But most especially," her voice dropped, trembling with hunger and bitterness, "I want her marriage. It should have been mine." Her eyes glistened. "She wasn't good. She didn't live right. I did." The room fell silent. Then Boboti stood up slowly and reached for a small bottle filled with dark liquid. He placed it on the table in front of her. "You will drink this before you sleep." Then he handed her a small calabash, its surface carved with faint symbols. "Write your name and her name on a piece of paper," he instructed. "Put it inside this calabash. And place it under your bed." Rebecca's hands trembled as she took it. Boboti's voice lowered, cold and firm. "When you wake up, things will no longer be as they were. Do not be surprised when you get exactly what you asked for." Something in his tone unsettled her. She wanted to ask what he meant. But Boboti had already turned away. He walked to the door, opened it, and gestured outside. "You have your instructions. Go." The door shut behind her before she could say another word. That night, Rebecca sat on the edge of her bed, staring at the calabash in her hands. For a moment, doubt crept in. But then she remembered Chioma's life. Her job. Her marriage. Her ease. Her glow. Then she remembered herself. Waiting. Sacrificing. Being patient for a reward that never came. Her doubt hardened into determination. She wrote both their names. Folded the paper. Placed it inside the calabash. And slid it under her bed. Then she lifted the bottle. Closed her eyes. And drank. The liquid burned as it went down her throat. A bitter heat spread through her body. Moments later, sleep claimed her. And that's where we'll end part 1. Rebecca has taken the juju. She has followed Boboti's instructions. And now she has drifted into sleep. But when she wakes up, her life will never be the same again. If you want to see what happens next, how Rebecca and Chioma's destinies collide, and how their lives are completely transformed, make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss part 2. Also, leave a comment and tell me what you think. Your support helps me continue creating amazing stories for you.